Have you ever been rejected for a job that you applied to, but ended up receiving a job offer for that same exact position? Well, in this video, I'm going to share real examples of where that's happened and what each of the candidates did to overcome that initial rejection. Hey everybody, it's Yuji from Better Career, and I've been a senior leader and a hiring manager at B2B tech companies, and recently I've worked with hundreds of people in helping them land jobs and advance in their careers. And the first thing I want to say about being rejected in the job search process is that it's simply part of the process. It's not really a reflection of who you are, your value, or your worth, or anything like that. Even candidates who are the best fit for a position may not get the job offer simply because there are so many applicants in the pool that are applying for that same job. So again, just know that rejection is simply part of the process. It's not a reflection of who you are. Now today, I want to share 3 real examples of candidates that I know who were initially rejected for a job that they applied to, but they ended up getting invited back for interviews, and 2 of them ultimately received job offers for the same job that they were rejected from in the beginning. So let's dive in. The first example is Sarah, who applied for a job, but unfortunately received a rejection email within 24 hours of applying. What happened there is the recruiter reviewed her application and her resume and decided that there wasn't enough experience or skills that they saw to justify bringing her in for an interview. But the good news is that Sarah took an extra step beyond her initial application. She went out to LinkedIn and found the hiring manager and sent the hiring manager a message that talked about why she's a fit for the role. She also talked about the research she did about the product, the company, and why she was really passionate about the company and the product. Now, the hiring manager saw her message and decided to invite her in for an interview, even after the initial application was rejected by the recruiter. Now, I spoke to this hiring manager after all this went down, and she said the reason that she took the interview with Sarah was because, number one, is she prioritizes interviewing applicants who take the time and show the initiative by reaching out to her directly. And she also appreciated the thoughtfulness of the message that Sarah sent, because Sarah also included a lot of the research she did about the company and the product, and she really appreciated that. Now, Sarah went on to the final round of interviews, but unfortunately she didn't get the job offer. However, the hiring manager is staying in touch with her. So whenever a new position opens up on her team, she wants to invite Sarah to interview again for that position. The takeaway here is that you should always reach out to the hiring manager, because they can override the recruiter's decision to bring you in for an interview. And they also appreciate the initiative that you show by sending them a message. And I hear this all the time from hiring managers that I talk to. They appreciate getting messages from applicants, especially thoughtful messages. In this next example, I was the hiring manager. This gentleman named JP applied for one of my solution consulting job postings. And the recruiter that was working for me at the time reviewed his application and rejected him. And I don't blame the recruiter for rejecting him, because the recruiter reviews dozens and dozens of resumes every day. And as much as we try to align on what I'm looking for as the hiring manager for the position that I'm hiring for, sometimes we don't always look at every resume and application in the same exact way. And in this case, the recruiter ended up rejecting him to start out. So he was rejected initially. But just like Sarah in the first example, he took the extra step to message me. But not only did he send me a message, he also recorded a video of him doing a short presentation. He was doing a product demo in his presentation. He recorded that video and he sent it to me in his message. Now, as a hiring manager, I rarely receive messages from applicants, let alone do I receive a video of a recorded presentation attached to the message. So what I did was override the recruiter's decision, and I went ahead and interviewed JP. And at the end of the interview process, we ended up giving him a job offer and we hired him. The salary for this role was over $200,000 a year, so this was a very important role for me to hire. We wouldn't have hired JP, and he would have missed out on the opportunity for this role if he didn't take the extra step to send me that message with that video. So the takeaway here is to not only reach out to the hiring manager, but find ways to go above and beyond. And you can even send things like a video to stand out from other applicants that might be messaging that same hiring manager. This third story is a good one, and it happened fairly recently. I was working with a job seeker named Daniel who had applied for a sales engineering job and made it through all of the interviews, including the final step, which was a presentation interview. He did a really good job on it, and they really liked him and thought he'd be a good fit for the team, except for they felt he didn't have enough Salesforce skills to be effective in the role. So they ultimately didn't give him the job offer. But Daniel really wanted this job, and he knew he needed to develop the Salesforce skills anyways. We also knew that the company was still interviewing candidates for another 2 weeks, and so they hadn't offered anybody the job just yet. So what we talked about doing with Daniel was having him spend the next few days going as deep as possible, learning as much as he could about Salesforce, and then creating a report outlining all of the things that he learned, including creating some reports and dashboards to show that not only did he read and watch all these videos, but he actually built some things within the Salesforce platform. So he would create that report. Then we also had him create a learning plan that talked about all the additional learning and steps he would take to ultimately get a Salesforce admin certification over the next 6 weeks. He took the report and the learning plan that he created and he shared it with the hiring manager. Now, unfortunately, in this case, the hiring manager didn't give him the job that he initially interviewed for, but she loved the initiative that he showed, and she loved the perseverance that he showed because he was initially rejected, but still took the time to go and learn the skills that he needed, and he put together that learning plan to show that he would get up to speed quickly. And she really appreciated this, and it gave her confidence that he would come into the team and do whatever it took to close any skill gaps that he had. And so she gave him a job offer to join her team, not for the same job that he interviewed for, but for a different job that was just as good, and the starting salary for that was around $130,000. And so Daniel was really excited about it. After being rejected, most candidates would simply ask for feedback and then move on with their job search. But Daniel didn't do that. He knew he needed those skills anyways, and he wasn't necessarily expecting to get an offer by taking these extra steps, but it ended up working out for him. Now, getting job offers after being rejected doesn't happen all the time. But the takeaway here from these 3 real examples is that there are no hard rules in hiring. There's actually a lot of subjectivity, and hiring managers can make exceptions to go outside of the standard process if they really want to interview or hire somebody, even overriding the recruiter's initial decision to reject a candidate. So I hope this helps provide insight into how hiring works and gives you some ideas of how you can impress hiring managers and stand out from the crowd of applicants. If you want to learn more about different ways that you can stand out to employers and succeed in your job search, check out the resources we have linked below. And I'd also really appreciate if you'd give this video a like to spread awareness in support of other job seekers out there. I wish you the best in your job search and in your career. Thanks for stopping by.